Got it.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome back to the Family EV Podcast. I'm your regular EV dad, John, and as ever from Chicagoland.
It's Joe from JK EV. How you doing? It's not as much fun as Salt Lake City, that's for sure. It's been a couple of weeks.
Okay, let's get this out of the way. Let's get it out of the way. So I don't know. I still need to put the video up from our little road trip. Did I put the road trip up on the review? Anyway, I put one of them up, and I need to put the other one up.
I think you put the Charger review up. I don't think the road trip went up.
Yeah, that sounds about right. And the reason for that is I got COVID. Let's be clear about this. So the reason why there's been no podcast is because I had my ass handed to me. So we'll give them the full version. Joe's doing a road trip. Or Joe did did you put any road trip? Are you doing a road trip thing for Phoenix and Salt Lake and all the stuff you were doing?
Yeah, that's going to be honestly probably still a couple of weeks away because I have a couple more videos I need to crank out that are older content, and then I'll roll into that.
So Joe basically did a 3-week trip, maybe a bit more.
Yep, 5,600 miles total.
Yeah, he was working remotely and enjoying some time off and yada yada yada. And so the crazy situation is that whilst we weren't able to do the thing on Highway 50 that we planned on doing because my father-in-law had a health issue, we ended up seeing each other twice in 2 weeks ish. So we saw each other Cinco de Mayo weekend. We may have covered this already because I was opening for Tony Hinchcliffe at CB Live and Stand Up Live with one Joe Rogan. And then we saw each other 10 days later in Salt Lake City, which is a little bit more interactive. It was slightly less chaotic than Phoenix and Cinco de Mayo.
Do we want to have a shameless plug for one of the best meals I've ever had?
Which was the best meal you ever had?
Oh, in Salt Lake City. What was that place? The family restaurant.
Oh, the Osteria. Yeah, I forget the name of it, but yeah, the Osteria. It is one of my favorite. Dude, I wasn't telling anyone about that because that's where I take my wife. I don't want to get in trouble. It was a fantastic meal, but we are back to a point. I'm over. Well, not over it. It's still very fuzzy in the head. It's about.
It looks like you're back home, so that's at least a step better.
Back home, I've been in quarantine. I had to quarantine at a Motel 6 for 2 nights, and then a Marriott for 4 or 5 nights. It is what it is. These are the things that are sent to test us, but. Let me get the shameless plugs out of the way before we go on. So if you're listening to this, I will be in New York on the 20th of June. That's Monday night at the Gotham Comedy Club. I'll put a link in the show description, and if you go to my Instagram, there's a link there as well on my event tree. That's now British John, that's Jon comedy, British John comedy. Yeah, I finally got my first opportunity to play at the Gotham. Technically, it's a new talent night, so they'll probably put me on late in the lineup to probably what we call the closeout, and allow me to run a little long, but the producer is the producer, so I'm obviously very excited. Did you have fun? Did you enjoy the show? Did you enjoy the shows?
Yeah, I think I enjoyed Salt Lake City more than Phoenix. I think just Phoenix was a little bit hectic. I had a bigger group with me. Salt Lake City was a little more getting to hang out with comedians before and after the show was pretty cool, and then getting to see the bits without people talking in my ear during the shows.
Your friends were very surprised. I don't think they realized that. Well, they didn't. The guy was like, "Who the hell's that?" Oh, wait, you were on the show? Like, yeah, yeah. That's what I do. I'm the guy that brings up the feature.
Normally, yeah, it was a good time for sure. And then who would have thought we would have gotten to see the grand opening of the Wyoming Charger?
That's hilarious. Yeah, so we went to the Everton. We went to the Everton Charger. You opened the day we happened to be there, which was rather amusing. In itself, delightfully boring. But so we got plenty to talk about. But we're going to talk about over sticker pricing. We're going to talk a bit about cheap EVs. We're going to talk about your changing situation with regards to EVs. But I want to start with a reminder for people that when driving your long-range EV, and long range, I put down long range, anything that can do 200 miles, you need to think about everything you're going to do. Let me explain, Joe. There isn't a video about this. At some point in the past, I think I put a video up. I took my dogs up to Yuma to there's a special vet person up there. Yuma is about 170 miles away, 160 miles away from me. So no problem getting there in the ID4. No problem at all, even on the hottest of days. But I got to get home. And so I do have to charge at some point. And I'm putting it down to COVID, Joe, because I have been brain fogged for the last couple of weeks. I get up there and there is a brand new, and the reason I mention this is because we just went to that brand new charger in Everton. There was a brand new charger installed in Yuma, which is about 10 miles away from where I was dropping the dogs off. And it's in a Target. I did do a site review and I will post it. I had to just record it on my cell phone because I didn't have any of my recording equipment with me. It is literally 4 city blocks away from the charger to the Target entrance. This Target decided they didn't want it. Maybe it was the trenching reason or whatever, but from a site point of view, this is probably one of the worst locations. Although it did have the brand new, nice new signets installed. And it charged up fine. And then I went home. No big deal. I had to go back there yesterday. And I realized what an idiot I was to have gone to Yuma because I just got it into my head that I'd driven up there and then I need to go and charge. No, I drove back to Sacramento. I came into a site in North Sacramento at 2%, then charged up and got home 40 minutes earlier.
Really? What?
Yeah, because I went 10 miles west to charge instead of just heading back down south. I should have turned around and charged like I did the second time round. But in my brain, I was not thinking clearly and I was hungry, but I could have got.
Were these Electrify America chargers up? Oh yeah, you just said the new signals.
Brand new one. Yeah, brand new charger. So anyway, speaking of brand new chargers, I'm looking at a road trip in November. We're gonna look at doing. Last year we went to Phoenix. I'm sure my wife's gonna be thrilled with me doing CB live again or stand up live over Thanksgiving. Last year we went to Phoenix for Thanksgiving. We have family out there. We took the minivan last time, the plug-in hybrid minivan. This time, if we do it, we're going to take the Audi e-tron. Have we talked about the e-tron on the podcast?
I thought so. Did you post?
I've not posted the road trip yet. I'm still working on the edit because I've been just brain fuggled. Anyway, if I haven't mentioned it, Mrs. Regular V now has her Volvo XC60, which I'm looking at right now, will be disappearing over the next couple of days. That's going.
Did you end up selling that to one of the big services or?
TBA. It will be going. I'm just working with them right now with a number of them, but yeah. I also have a private buyer who I'm trying to not. A friend of ours wants to buy it, and I'm like, please don't buy this. Please.
I'm the same way. Because then if something goes wrong,
yeah,
then you'll always have the guilt.
I don't want it because this is a piece of electrical crap. It's full of gremlins waiting to happen.
Yeah.
Anyway, friends don't sell friends secondhand cars. So anyway, we will go there. And the reason I mention this is I've got my eye on a new site. So a number of sites have opened. When I've been there in Santa Barbara, a brand new site opened in Ventura when I was down there. And I'm now looking at a new one on 5, and this is really important. There is going to be one at Kettleman. This is about 30-40 miles south of Harris Ranch, right in the middle. So we'll be down to 50 miles between charges on 5 between the Bay Area turnoffs at 152 and LA. Kettleman is one of the big Tesla chargers. This is the one with the, not a cafe, but whatever you want to call it, a little rest area. With the first one they did that. This is going to be an important site. So, hopefully, I do know as soon as that opens, I will get in the ID4 and drive down there. But anyway,
is this one of those that they plan on putting the convenience store at? Or
I don't know. They're definitely doing that in San Francisco, because I've seen the plan. They had to file permits, and a copy of the plans was in there. And so it's an old warehouse which they're turning into a drive-through charger with convenience resting area, whatever you want to call it. I'm looking forward to seeing that. 24 charging stations, not 24 heads, 24 charging stations. So we will see. And then one of the other premier ones is just down. I don't think I ever published a review of it, actually. The one down at Valley Fair is down here. I will be going there, pardon me, in July. I know, how advanced, John. You'll be going to a charger that's 10 miles away 6 weeks from now, John. That seems very oddly specific. Yes, it's because the brand new Eataly is going to open there. And I'm not paying for parking. I'm going to go down there with 0 state of charge and plug in and pre-order my food. I don't care. But I'm not going to go to the opening because I'm going to be in New York, as I mentioned, be performing there. All right, let's get off such waffle. But it's good to see the networks expanding. I'm sure you agree, Joe.
Yeah, I feel like they could use another location around here, because all I have near my house within 20 miles is one charging location that only has 3 chargers at, and it's quite often getting full at this point. So certainly would appreciate another station around here would be nice. And of course, it's the old ABBs that are undoubtedly one will be broken at all times.
Yeah, isn't it? I had a couple of those. I'm looking right now. I'm actually looking at the Electrify America map on my cell phone. Now, obviously, I can't even see myself, but I'm looking at the Bay Area, and obviously we have an excessive number of chargers. Oh, they've turned on the new one. In fact, they've turned on the new one in Watsonville in the last couple of days as well. Interesting. But there are 3 chargers around me that are currently full. One of them is the Bank of America at Bernal, which is I've used for my range testing. That permanently has problems. That's full right now. The one in Los Gatos is full.
Yeah, this is where it's kind of the love-hate relationship. I mean, the amount of money I've saved with the free charges through the ID4 is incredible, but I've also been guilty of at times where I'll go use a station just to go charge up while I go eat, since it's free. Yeah. Whereas otherwise I would have just charged at home under most circumstances. However, I will say, if I'll never be the person who fills the station. I'll only charge there as long as there's at least 1 or 2 units still open.
Yeah, so the reason I was going to mention this, I'm looking at Sacramento. There's obviously a lot of charges around Sacramento, but one that I didn't go to it because I just didn't need that. I didn't need to divert that far. There's one at Sacramento Airport, which has 8 chargers. That seems excessive. It's 8, and they're all 150s, which is interesting. No 350s, all 150s. So anyway, I saw it yesterday. I thought I'd mention it. Let's talk about your situation, and let's talk about sticker prices, Joe, huh?
Yep. So I think we've talked in prior podcasts that I'm interested in the F-150 among some other vehicles. And actually, Christina just bought a Kia Sportage non-hybrid, just regular gas vehicle, and even that was we called over 30 dealerships just to, and eventually just paid 5% over sticker. And quite frankly, the reason we accepted that is because the trade-in was so much higher than even Carvana or anyone would offer. It made the markup appear non-existent. But in my situation, since I don't have a trade-in, I'm looking at the F-150 Lightning in particular. And the best I found in this situation is a dealership, I believe it's in Pennsylvania, has a platinum for sale that a customer backed out of. And they told me it would only be 15,000 above sticker. So that would be 108,000 for the truck. I've had other dealers tell me that they have Pros or XLTs because that's the trims I'm looking for. And they have those as the mannequin model, which means it's supposed to be a demo that they will have for 6 months for people to test drive. And Ford has made it clear that if they sell that sooner than 6 months, they'll get charged a $25,000 fine by Ford. And those dealers are happy to sell the car for 30 or more thousand over sticker, being that they'll make money after that fine from Ford. Although I'm sure that there'll be other penalties Ford will put on them, such as making sure they don't get the cars they want when they want them. Or Ford won't take that lightly, I think, if they sell these trucks early.
I'm looking at I've gone to Car Gurus right now,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm looking at
Yeah, I've gone through. I mean, I'm on wait lists all around the country. I'm in Miami, Oakland, a couple others in California, North Dakota. Figured that's a good dealership to be on the wait list for, since they have a couple trucks coming in and there's nowhere to charge the things around there. So that'll just make a good video if I can buy it from there. Of how did I get it home?
Wait, back up, buy it where?
In North Dakota, one of the dealers up there is getting a couple of them, and there's nowhere to charge the thing up anywhere near this dealer. So, but if someone backs out of it, I'll be happy to figure out a way to get the thing home.
I'm looking right now, and it says that either coming soon or in stock.
Mm-hmm. However, most of those, and it's kind of frustrating that they, some of the dealers are good. They put a picture up that says not for sale or already sold or something like that, or mannequin model. But a lot of these other dealers, like I know for sure the one closest to me in Niles, Illinois, that dealer, it has them advertised here at sticker price. They can't sell those. Those are the mannequin models that I've already talked to them. They're not selling them, but yet they're advertising them on Car Gurus like they are, just to try to get people to show up, put their foot in the door, and hopefully join their list.
So I might call them after the Crater Lake Motors has a F-160 Lightning XLT Super Crew.
I'm very sure I'm on their list too.
In Medford, nice part of we like Medford. It's right off 5. Now it says the range is 230 miles. That means that's the small battery, right? That's the regular.
Right. Although from what I've been hearing, as we know with the Mach-E, Ford is pretty conservative on these numbers. So yeah, as long as that's a conservative 230 on the truck, I'd be happy with that number.
Well, exactly. If the question is, and we've seen the chart, Tom has published a charging curve for it. So it does have a bit of a drop off at 80%. Mm-hmm. It is a bit of a cliff actually, but it's not as bad as the Mustang.
And 80% should still be almost 200 miles.
Exactly. So I think they think he's going to charge at 130, 140 for the smaller. So, quite usable. Anyway, we'll see. But you're without an EV for a while, my friend. That's
Yep. The other vehicles that are on my list if this Lightning becomes so little backstory. Illinois, as of July 1st, will have a $4,000 cash on the hood. Well, technically it's a rebate. I think similar to the California thing, you have to apply for and they'll mail you a check. But that starts July 1st on EVs, new or used, surprisingly. And then the rule with it is an EV, each VIN number can only get the credit once, and it must be bought from a dealership in Illinois. So the list that I'm down to now is the Ioniq 5. The Mini kind of still is on there, but most likely not. The new Toyota BZ4X thing, if that's around, I've considered it, being that it seems to be a lot of buzz in the Toyota community. There's a lot of Prius owners that I'm sure would be happy to see a lot of videos about that car. And then of course the Lightning is, a long shot by far away, that my top choice. So the interesting thing about that language on that Illinois law is it says must be purchased from a dealership. So I'm curious to see if Rivian and Tesla are kind of left out to dry there, because they technically don't use dealerships. They just do delivery centers for their vehicles. So I haven't really dug too deep to figure that out. I guess I'm not really shopping for those brands right now, but it'd be interesting to find out if they kind of got left out to dry.
And if you're wondering what I'm doing while I'm not looking at the screen, I'm pulling a splinter out my thumb. I was doing home repairs before we got here, and it got to the point where it was too painful and just had to be pulled out. Anyway, it's all yucky.
Also, if one of our two listeners happens to be a Lightning owner and decided that for whatever reason they don't want it anymore, be sure to let us know.
But then you won't get the credit, my friend.
If they haven't taken delivery yet, I can happily.
Yes. If you have a reservation and want to offer it up, we'd both be interested. I might not, because I'm still I don't know what I'm going to do, my friend. It's I have the option on the Rivian. A friend of mine's offered me his reservation, but that would mean getting rid of the ID4. And I did do a quick Carvana on it yesterday. I would not lose money.
I made money on mine.
Yeah. Wait, you sold it you sold it for sticker for the MSRP?
So I paid $49 out the door, including sales tax in Illinois. I got a $7,500 tax credit, so my effective purchase price is $41,500. I put 32,000 miles on it, not to mention all the free charging. I think I've spent less than $500 on electricity, and I sold it for $41,925 to Carvana.
So Carvana, why did you only offer me 37,000? There we go. There's a question.
Yeah, that's the little game I've heard with them. I think Kyle has talked about this before too, that he has gotten offers in North Carolina, and I think he eventually chose to bring his cars with him to Colorado just because there was more money out there. And I think I remember seeing, maybe it wasn't him, there was a video of someone that for a while was buying cars and would transfer them to another state to sell them because there was just profit to be made. In other words, you could buy car A in California, drive it to Texas where Carvana is offering a premium for some reason, and make a quick couple $1,000s.
Yeah. The over MSRP, let's talk about that very quickly. So good. Actually, the person who I was seeing the other day to drop off the dogs, she was the loyalty manager at a car dealer until recently and got laid off. And I think that's just tells us everything. Loyalty, customer service is just not something that most dealerships seem to be interested in. They are. We're going to be having a recession, absolutely. But I just, all the bullshit of all their marketing, we're a big part of the community, and and we will scalp you if we can. Like we
bought the Kia in Milwaukee for a reason, and same with Hyundai. Christina's Kia Niro that we bought 3 or 4 years ago was bought in northern Wisconsin for the same reason, and the Ioniq 5s, I've already talked to a couple dealers in Wisconsin that will do an MSRP on that, since there's a bunch of them. There's a ship that must have been dropped off at the port about a week or two ago, because they're starting to populate dealers really quickly over here.
Yeah, it is. Tesla is going to, Tesla's winning on the customer service, and it's not that they have a better product, it's that they don't treat their customers like garbage, or if they do, they at least deliver on the promises. It's just the mind boggles. It really does. I was yeah, let's not dwell on it, my friend. I don't have the mental power to dwell on that kind of crapola. Speaking of expensive cars, let's flip that and talk about Chevy Bolt is now $24,000.
Yep. So that's where when I mentioned that the
An
Mini is,
EUV is 25.
yes, that's why the Mini has kind of fallen off my list, because as much as I love that car, for 33,000 before the tax credit and only 120 or so miles, the fact that you can get the Bolt now for 26,000, which basically just is the Mini after the tax credit's adjusted, that's a pretty hard bargain. It's for 260 miles or 259 miles, I think the Bolt is, and then the EUV is
Well,
only like 8 miles
it's
less.
200 realistically.
Yeah, yeah.
And remember, that's a limited 200 because you're stuck with 50 kilowatt charging. So
Right.
that kind of brings us to that conversation we've had 100 times before about use case. If you're just using it for commuting as a second car, that's tremendous value.
Yep, that's kind of where the Kona and Nero still fit in people's garages. You know, if you're not going to road trip it, those are excellent cars versus the you pay the premium for the Ioniq and the EV6 for some nice styling stuff, but really the charging is what you're paying for. That's why you buy those cars.
Well, the fixtures as well, the quality of the, the entertainment systems, the information systems is substantially better. I could never get the one in that Chevy Bolt I rented in Austin was
Yeah,
that was special. It did its job, but yeah, 50 kilowatt charging is and that's 50 kilowatt charging, and you if you give it the beans too much, it's fun to drive, but it gets very thirsty very quick. The Audi's always thirsty, but at least it charges like an absolute demon, so you don't notice it overall.
I actually had an interesting scenario happen when I was going from Salt Lake City back home, where I arrived at a charger while a Bolt was already there, and he was charging. I already charged and left before he ever left. And as I was leaving, I saw an Ioniq come in, Ioniq 5. And by the time I got to the next charger, he got there 10 minutes after me and charged and left before me, just because. And the story of why all the time was saved is I left the Bolt in the dust because of our charging being way better than them. And the Ioniq 5 is just a whole nother level of time savings.
100%. I mean, that is, yeah. I mean, and it's interesting because I'm looking at I'm looking at this Phoenix trip. Technically, I can do that with 6 stops. I know that's not true. I know that it would probably be 8 or 9, because I would charge. Although this thing you just keep it plugged into 80% the whole time. It just
On the Audi, yeah.
Yeah, it's different. But yeah, I know people. We do know people who, I've met people at chargers in the middle of nowhere. When I was driving the Audi back from Atlanta, I met people at the Quartzsite site who were road tripping their Bolts, and my hat off to them. They had put some serious miles on it.
I don't know if we've talked about this before. What is your preference to the EV6 and the Ioniq 5? Which one did you say that you liked more?
I liked the exterior of which is the one with the digital display at the back. That's the Ioniq, isn't it?
Oh, right. Yeah.
I like the exterior of the Ioniq. I like the interior of the EV6.
Same. Yeah. The interior has got a nice sportiness. It also has like a white and black seat kind of combo that you can get that looks good.
Yeah. It's yeah. I just got a warning from my computer. So let me just put my timer on. There we go. What else were we going to talk about, my friend?
Let's see. Oh, you had mentioned Scout. I'm not too familiar with that.
Well, that came back to actually, here's my point. So Volkswagen announced in 3 years' time, they will bring to market an alternative to the Rivian and the F-150 Lightning. Scout is a brand they bought from an agricultural company many years ago. They did exist for a while. and they're going to bring it back. And one of the things they did not say is that they would bring it back through the dealer network. Hey, I'm on a phone call. Okay. Making a rare appearance on the podcast is Copilot London. Hi.
I'm a big Disney fan, so I don't know if you've seen, but Volkswagen seems to have some partnership with the Obi-Wan reboot.
I saw that.
It's a pretty good commercial that you should see. I'm sure it'll populate on the either Stanley Cup or NBA Finals.
Can I finish my conversation? All right, you want to say goodbye to everybody?
Bye.
Okay.
That just added at least 2 subscribers.
Absolutely. I don't think she's been on the podcast before. So yeah, they did not say what they were going to do, and it's quite clear that Volkswagen and Ford are both looking at a distribution model that does not include the dealers for sales, maybe for sales facilitation, but not because this is that they're not adding value. They are service partners. They're saying we don't need sales partners. We need service partners. We don't need sales partners. So yeah, I good luck to them. I really mean it. Good looking vehicle as well. I will say that.
Yeah, kind of as that Rivian kind of boxy look going forward, right?
Yep. I like the look of it. I like it a lot. This is the problem, Joe. This is the COVID. The brain fog is real. What was the last thing we were going to close out on? I cannot remember for the life of me.
Well, I thought we covered it all because we talked about my car issue. We talked about the dealer markup and our road trips.
Yeah. All right. Well, in that case, let's close out with a couple of things that are coming up. I will not be at there is an event in July at Sonoma, an electric car rally thing taking place. They've been advertising it. I will not be there, even though it's only a couple of miles away from here, because I'll be in Austin, Texas, headlining.
Thought we finished the shameless plugs early in the time.
Well, this is a shameless plug. I'm not selling tickets on this one, unless you happen to be in Austin. So I was meant to be headlining for the first time since COVID. I wasn't really a headliner. Before that, I headlined a couple of shows, and by headliner, I was the last person to go on. I wasn't doing 30, 40 minutes of material minimum. I was meant to be headlining last week, but I did not have the strength to drive. I got to finish this. I got to finish this phone call. I didn't have the strength to drive 300 miles, perform for 150 miles down there, do the show, perform for 45 minutes, and then drive back. It was not good. So this will be my first proper headlining gig, and I'm looking forward to that. And I will be doing an in-depth look at the infrastructure for EVs in that part of Texas, because we are looking at possibly moving there. That might be a thing for the fall. We will see. So we're not that, but Joe and I, the next thing we're going to work on is San Diego. We're going to work out how we're going to do that, fully charged live in America. And other than that, please continue to stay subscribed. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter. We're going to try and get back to doing this on a weekly basis. I know we're recording this on the weekend because I know next week's going to be crazy for me. I've got the security conference to go and speak at, and it's just going to be nuts. But we'll be back with you as soon as we can. Other than that, as ever, thank you, Joe. Thanks for being here.
Thank you as well. And I'm glad you're feeling better.
I wouldn't say that, my friend. My internal thermostat is
progressing,
but we're getting there. And to you, our listener, thank you so much for popping in and listening to our warblings. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and we'll see you next time.
Take care.